The ballista was an ancient siege and battlefield weapon that launched bolts and stones over significant distances. Its impact on ancient warfare was substantial, as it combined power, range, and accuracy. This chapter introduces the ballista's general purpose and historical significance. This chapter explores the ballista's roots, influenced by earlier Greek and Roman siege engines. It discusses how early engineers combined torsion principles from the Greek Oxybelus and Roman Scorpio, leading to the creation of the ballista as a superior projectile weapon. The ballista's design involved a wooden frame, torsion springs, and a central throwing arm. This chapter covers its engineering basics, showing how energy stored in twisted fibers powered the launch mechanism and discussing the ballista's structural components. Powering the ballista. The torsion system was the core of the ballista's strength. This chapter details how engineers use fibers made from animal sinew or hair to create powerful torsion springs. It explains the principles of torsion energy and how this feature set the ballista apart from other siege engines and resources. This chapter examines the materials used to construct a ballista, including wood, metal, and animal fibers, and explains how each material contributed to the device's durability and effectiveness. It also touches on the challenges of sourcing these materials. Construction techniques. Building a ballista required precise measurements and specialized skills. This chapter describes the assembly process, discussing how ancient engineers created the frame, torsion springs, and winding mechanism to ensure a stable and powerful machine. Over time, several types of ballistae were developed, each suited to specific military needs. This chapter explores variations like the Manuballista, a smaller, handheld version, and other larger siege ballistae used for different tactical purposes. The ballista primarily launched large bolts, but some versions used stones for wider damage. This chapter discusses the types of ammunition, the impact of each on different targets, and how ballistae adapted to the demands of the battlefield. Advantages in warfare. The ballista was known for its remarkable accuracy and long range, often reaching distances up to 400 meters. This chapter covers its tactical advantages, detailing how engineers balanced range, projectile weight, and force to optimize effectiveness. Operating a ballista was a team effort, with specific roles needed for efficient use. This chapter describes the duties of each crew member, one to aim, another to load, and others to wind and fire the weapon, highlighting the importance of coordination. The Greeks were the first to use the ballista in battle, applying it in sieges and open-field skirmishes. This chapter explores its early adoption, how it complemented Greek military tactics, and its role in evolving warfare strategies. The Romans adapted and refined the ballista for broader use, making it portable and suitable for all battlefield conditions. This chapter covers these innovations and how the Romans' enhancements increased the weapon's versatility. Though both were siege engines, the ballista and catapult had distinct mechanics and applications. This chapter contrasts the ballista's torsion-powered precision with the catapult's lob trajectory, explaining each weapon's strengths and limitations that GIC role in siege warfare. In sieges, the ballista excelled at breaching walls and defenses. This chapter describes its strategic use in breaking fortifications, intimidating defenders, and its role in several historical sieges where it played a decisive role. In field battles, ballistae were also used in open field battles, disrupting enemy formations from a distance before soldiers engaged in close combat. This chapter discusses how commanders used the ballista's range and power to soften enemy forces. On troops and defenders, the ballista's size and impact instilled fear on the battlefield. This chapter delves into its psychological role, where the sight and sound of a launching bolt became a tool of intimidation, adding psychological pressure on opponents. Ballistae in warfare. Although powerful, the ballista was cumbersome and challenging to move. This chapter examines the difficulties of transporting, setting up, and maintaining ballistae on campaign, affecting their tactical flexibility. Durability issues. The ballista's wooden and fiber components required regular upkeep to remain effective. This chapter covers the maintenance routines for keeping the ballista functional and how environmental conditions could affect its durability. Battles featuring ballistae. Ballistae played crucial roles in several significant battles. This chapter discusses key engagements, like the Siege of Alesia, highlighting how the ballista contributed to Roman victories and changed the course of history. Roman ballistae innovations. The Byzantine Empire continued to use and adapt the ballista, refining it for city defenses and naval warfare. This chapter explores these innovations, showing how they kept the ballista relevant in changing military landscapes. Replacement with gunpowder artillery. With the development of gunpowder, the ballista gradually fell out of use. This chapter explains the transition to gunpowder weapons and how the ballista became obsolete in the face of more powerful artillery. Engineering. Despite its decline, the ballista's design influenced future siege weapons and military engineering. This chapter explores how the mechanics of the ballista contributed to early artillery science. Art and sculpture. The ballista was depicted in ancient reliefs and sculptures as a symbol of military prowess. This chapter examines artistic representations, showing how it became an emblem of strength and innovation. Surrounding the ballista. Stories of the ballista's destructive power circulated widely, often exaggerating its capabilities. This chapter covers the myths and folklore surrounding the weapon, emphasizing its feared reputation. Reconstructions and historical research. Historians and engineers have reconstructed ballistae to understand their effectiveness. This chapter discusses these reconstructions and how they validate or challenge ancient records of the ballista's power. Modern popular culture. The ballista frequently appears in literature, film, and games, symbolizing ancient engineering and warfare. This chapter explores its role in modern media as a symbol of ancient strength and strategy. Component breakdown. This chapter provides a detailed look at each component of the ballista, from the torsion springs to the frame, explaining how each part contributed to the weapon's function and power. Understanding the ballista's effectiveness requires knowledge of its physics. This chapter explores torsion mechanics, leverage, and aerodynamics, explaining how these principles contributed to its long-range capabilities. Other siege engines. Comparing the ballista with other siege weapons, like trebuchets and onagers, reveals its unique strengths and weaknesses. This chapter explores these comparisons, illustrating its specific role in ancient warfare. Impact of the ballista. The ballista remains a symbol of ancient ingenuity and military power. This final chapter reflects on its historical role, legacy, and the lasting influence of its mechanics and symbolism in the evolution of siege technology.